recording already, so I'm good.
Oh, I should probably record, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of important. Sure.
Depends. I mean, sometimes I forget. I don't tell you guys.
That's all right. Just leave me out. I don't need to be there.
It's just empty silence for a little while while you're talking. I don't know where the audio... There it is. And we'll hit K to record. Don't know why that's the shortcut. And then I'm going to go to my phone. I'm going to hit this button. And let's see what posts over in the buttons. And we're live. Boop.
Are we live yet? Are we live yet?
We're live. Did
I
it
don't
post
see
in
any
the hub?
announcements. Nope. I don't see it. Your button didn't work.
What the heck, Seth?
Damn it.
I know. You only had one.
Maybe they posted somewhere else. Whoa. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the hub.
Weird. Yeah, it's supposed to come from the button, but I just run it manually there.
Oh wait, hold on. There we go. Something live on YouTube.
There you go. Look at that.
Hey, look at that. It's got a little button.
Yeah, I made a button.
That's cool.
Nice.
Look at us.
Oh,
I don't know if it works though. Let's see.
I don't know. I wonder.
Hey, yeah, we're live right there. Boom, live. I guess I could finally probably figure out how to make it link to the right video, but good enough for now.
It's never good enough.
Lots of testing and deleting code and made a little button. Wait, what did my little button do? Why is it? Does your button have a thing next to it? If his app is not configured with this feature. I don't know what that means. Oh, well, it takes you to the right place.
Why are there a bunch of people joining from the porn Reddit? No.
Yeah, because I logged in with Facebook on my Pornhub account.
The toe sucking subreddit?
Toe suckings, yeah. All right, we'll hit save on this. Save. Oh, I know why. Because I didn't save it naturally. That's what.
Of course.
So now that it's saved, my button on my iPhone would work if I press it again, but I'm not going to because I don't annoy people. Only one channel announcement per night. All right. I found a really cool little automation platform that other people on other podcasts have been talking about. So I'll talk about that later.
Node-RED?
No, it's cooler than that, actually. It's a little cloud-based thing.
Cooler than that. Nothing's cooler than Home Assistant.
Okay. And
Unraid.
In Unraid, yeah. I guess, I'll put that in here. I'll put it in the projects.
Projects.
My wife did say that she found my memory that I was supposed to have returned within 10 days.
You lost your memory?
Yeah, I don't know where it went. I have the new one, but I don't have the old one.
It's like a goldfish now.
I know. All he has is short-term memory.
Who are you guys?
What are we doing here again?
It's not Wednesday. All right.
Who's Wednesday?
Does anybody want to post over on the old Mastodon thing that we're recording?
Yeah, I'll copy and paste it.
Well, it really won't work because it's not a copy and paste anymore. But you can. I have something I was gonna add into it, but I can't copy and paste across two routine things. So
well, and I don't have the I know it's somewhere, but I don't have the login for the actual HomeTech account, so somebody else has to do
it. What's the website name?
HomeTech.social.
Where I pretty much am right now tonight.
You set it up, Seth.
Yeah, and still no updates from the old Mastodon people. I'm kind of worried about them, huh? Like, they gonna update the server? Still 402.
It doesn't need updated. God damn, there's a lot of noise happening here.
And then where was the HomeTech.fm? I guess I can copy it from here. There it is. Wait, our thing went away.
What's our thing? We have a thing?
My thing didn't go away. It's still here.
My thing's always been here.
No, the live video. Is it not doing a live video anymore? Oh yeah,
It
there we
says
go.
live, and there's one viewer. I don't know who that is, but hi.
Hi, viewer.
Welcome. We're getting started because we don't have it automated yet, but we're working on it.
You're the best viewer we've ever had.
Mastodon has been posted. Come join the conversation. Published. All right, there we go. Conversation. I guess I spelled that right. All right, guys. Let's do this. Gavin's got other podcasts to go be on.
Yeah, he's gonna leave us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not leaving the team. I would never leave this team. This is too much fun.
He's getting some invites.
Yeah, I'm getting podcast
Super
famous.
popular.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They just like my rants.
It's just because he likes Home Assistant.
Yeah, ever since I started talking about Home Assistant, oh man, it's been awesome. You know, it's like everyone, it's like Linux users. They just come out of the woodwork. It's like, hey,
You're in that
Linux
crowd.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes I'm just in public and I whisper it and see who turns around. I say, Home Assistant. And you see someone turn around, you're like, yes, we need to talk. They hear you from everywhere.
No good. No good. All right. Let's get started here. I think everything's ready. Looks like it's all recording and all that good stuff.
We know where we're all from this week.
He said it's Lewis Center, Ohio.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, what's the big deal with that?
It's
It's
like
just long, it's just more complicated to say, you know.
he crossed the street into another town, you know. Like,
Across the street. Yeah, hey, this is 15 minutes from my house. All right.
oh my god, it's 50 minutes for me to get to the corner of my street sometimes.
Well,
Traffic.
you probably need to exercise, Gavin.
Damn, I set that one up.
What do you have like a country mile to walk or something?
It's all this, all the skunks running around outside.
I guess so.
Damn traffic. Okay, we live in a big city. You know.
All right. Let's get started. So that Gavin can get out of here, and I got to go edit this thing tonight too. So that's fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Knock it out.
This is the HomeTech podcast for Friday, February. That's not right. That is not the right date. It's totally not. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow's the right date.
It's the 10th.
Yeah. All right.
Is that the right
Save.
episode number too?
The episode number's right.
All right.
The date did not save. All right. This is the HomeTech podcast for Friday, February 10th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Lewis Center, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech podcast, a podcast all about home automation, home technology, all that good stuff. This week we've got a number of like home tech headlines that have come through. So a lot of actually the news feels like it's picking back up, or at least there's something to talk about. I don't know. I've been I was out of town all weekend. Like I went to Mardi Gras on Saturday. Saw Patti LaBelle sing. That was fun. And then I went to I got on a plane and went to Phoenix the next morning. So I didn't get back to Wednesday. So yeah, my week's been busy. You guys been up to?
That sounds like a busy week. Nothing as busy as you though. It's been one of those quiet weeks.
Yeah, I've just had a bunch of boring meetings and getting stuff ready for tax time. You know, all the non-fun business stuff. So
tax time.
Yeah, you know, had to get all the documents together, do inventory. I'm still working through all of it. You know.
Oh, you got to automate all that with Home Assistant.
Yeah, well, maybe one day. Well, last year I waited till like September to do my taxes. So this year I'm gonna try to get a little earlier. You know.
I'm writing it down now. Do taxes. So I will forget.
Do you have somebody do your taxes, or you do it yourself?
I mean, I still have to get all of it together, like the business side of stuff, because last year was hilarious. I didn't even balance my checkbook for the business for like the entire year, probably 9 months. And then I was just like, well, let's just go classify things. So, because there's nothing that my business does. It just does nothing all year. So there's the same amount of money. So it's not a real business, you see. But I have to go get all that pulled together and figured out and download. And I'll go do it. So
Is it just a front for your other business?
It's just a front, yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
okay.
much what it is.
Yeah, see, last year I guess like everybody waited to the last minute to do taxes. I'm usually right, like as soon as they open, I usually submit it to my tax person because I just want to get it done with. But last year I made the mistake of waiting to schedule my appointment until like taxes opened, and they were already booked out like 4 or 5 months. So it took forever. I mean, basically the rest of the year to actually get it done.
Yeah, that's
so
why they have
don't-
those extensions.
Yeah, well, that's luckily they have that. So
Hey, TJ, tap on your mic. Can you check and make sure that's what's picking up? I'm not sure.
it
He's
looks
got that
like it
static
is.
going on, right?
It's bad now, yeah.
What about now?
That's way better.
Huh. For some reason, I have 2 different Shure microphones. Actually, I have 3 different ones for some reason.
Oh, man. Is this a Windows machine?
Yeah. But it's the same one I've been podcasting on, so I'm not sure why all of a sudden it has 3.
That's weird.
I don't know.
It got better when you switched it, but now it's kind of coming back. So I don't know.
Well, I've only been waiting like 8 months to do this, but I finally ordered a new interface. So hopefully next week the audio is a little better.
Yep, we'll get it figured out. All right, what do you guys say we jump into these home tech headlines?
Let's
do it.
All right. Well, Josh AI posted over on a blog post, I think it was like today or this week sometime, showing off a new and apparently very early look at integrating with ChatGPT. And while that integration isn't exactly flawless, it demonstrates how the two services could combine and bring some features that aren't exactly included in Josh AI, but they're there with other services. So like Alexa and Google Home. In the video, Alex Capisalatro interacts with the Josh system as you would normally would, turning on and off devices, lowering shades, all that good stuff. And you can use compound and complex sentences to do that. You don't have to say, turn on this light and wait. You can say, turn on this light and close the shades and open the garage door and all that good. Like you can just compound everything together and it'll just do it. But then he started asking questions like which restaurants are nearby that are great for vegans. And the responses were coming back. So that's kind of like something you'd be able to do with a service like Siri or, like a Google Home or Google Voice and that kind of thing where you can ask it a question like that and it would respond with maybe not Siri, but at least Google would respond with a decent answer. But Josh AI has kind of been limited to processing the more basic commands like, and I say basic commands, but like the automation, that's what they've been focused on, like home automation commands. And they could do a little things like, what's the temperature outside? What time is it? The basics, but they didn't really have access to kind of like things around you and things that you would maybe be able to ask like a Siri or a Google Home or an Amazon Echo or something like that. So I thought this integration is pretty cool and little early, like it did trip up on itself. And, Alex even pointed that out, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty powerful addition or could be a pretty powerful addition to the system and something they could layer on top of what they already have and just make things better. It definitely works well with the professionally installed systems out there like Control 4 and Crestron and bringing what people think is a smart device or how a smart assistant should work, kind of leveling that up and bring it on par with things like the Echo and Siri and Google Home. I think this is a win-win. It looks really cool. Gavin, you had some thoughts before the show. What do you think about this thing?
Yeah, I really like the Josh AI. I only had 2 gripes about it, up until today was 1, I can't get my hands on one. I'm not allowed to buy one. And 2, it didn't do all those extra things that you were talking about, like other than like home control, maybe what the weather, what the time, but it didn't do all those miscellaneous questions. When I saw this though, I was amazed. I loved it. It filled in that gap amazingly. And it took Josh AI for me to the next level. Like even if they had a consumer version I could buy and it was like $250, I'd buy it, right? Because this looks really good. I'm a fan of Josh AI, what they're doing with it and where they're going with it, and I'm just upset I can't get one.
Yeah, this is like approaching on like actual home automation, right? I mean, because a lot of times when people think about home automation, they may think of controlling lights with their voice or setting up schedules and stuff like that, but that's not really home automation, right? It's just you're creating an action and then it's doing something else in retaliation of that. So if you can get some kind of AI in there where it actually learns about your habits and does things differently depending on, time of day or depending on what kind of question you ask or what the words you use. I mean, there's a lot of potential there to do a lot with automation, and I don't even think we're close to like finding out what that is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Chat GPT hasn't really been around that long. It's kind of blown up. Everybody's been talking about it recently, but we're in the very early stages of this, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Chat GPT's been around for the large language model has been around for a while, but Chat GPT put it into a chat where you and everybody else can interact with it. And it's I think that's just like that service, I guess, the front end of it is really what took off. That's what exploded. And we're gonna see an explosion. I agree. Like it's this has kind of proven itself to be able to do things that we kind of expected AI to do early on when we started. The AI was like a buzzword, 3 years ago or whatever. It's kind of like faking a lot of it, turns out, but it looks like it's doing it, and that's good enough for a lot of people. But one of the things he did say in here, and you what you said, TJ, reminded me of it. He said, I'm trying to film something in here and the light's a little low. Can you make it bright? Can you fix that for me and do something else? And not only it did all that, and then it raised up it said, I'm going to raise the lights up and that kind of thing to make it brighter in here for you. So that kind of stuff where it's not, you're not saying, hey, turn the lights up or turn the lights bright, make the lights brighter in this room. You're giving it a scenario and it's parsing through and making a decision on what to do based on that scenario. That's pretty cool. I mean, what if you said, I'm having a nice romantic dinner tonight, set the mood, and it goes to town and it turns, dims down the lights, makes everything just right, and starts playing some sensual music. I mean, that would be cool.
And that's where I was impressed was when he said he was just like watch White Lotus and something else, and it just went and did it all for him. Like it was so smooth and seamless. I was so impressed. That was almost like home automation or voice assistant nirvana.
Well, I think what's cool, I mean, you say you can't get this. It's a dealer only product. It's a CDA channel product. And they're focused on integrating with a smaller subset of products, right? Than what you would get involved with DIY. But Home Assistant's also trying to do a voice play this year too. So and you know how those hackers are over there. If their platform gets more mature and they're able to integrate something like Chat GPT into it, you could see, a version of this built into Home Assistant in the future. So that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. And honestly, I don't know if anybody's started working on it for Home Assistant yet, but I imagine somebody out there is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything publicly about it, but everybody's jumping in the AI camp at this point. You have Microsoft coming out with their integration with ChatGPT. You have Google releasing their new AI called Bard. And I'm sure there's a million others that are in the works right now. So it's we're just now getting there.
Oh, Home Assistant's already working on this. Don't worry. They demoed their basic version, basic voice control. And I think they're gonna do stuff like add ChatGPT as like a fallback. So if you do your home control and you ask it something that it doesn't know, it will pass it off to ChatGPT and answer the rest of the stuff. So they're already planning that for the future. Like I'm very excited to see what Home Assistant does with all this too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. It'll be really neat to see where all this stuff plays out and how these language models integrate into the home. I think Josh AI is really cool because that's going to bring it into like the super high end homes, right? You're going to see it there first, and this kind of reminds me of what TJ. Do you remember Kaleidoscape? Do you remember that company? Like they still exist. They're still in business, believe it or not. But like where I went this weekend, we had one to kind of play around with because they still do like direct bit for bit digital downloads, like 60 gig files, and you can get the 444 60K, whatever it is. I don't even know. Was it 4K 60? I don't know.
Super magical resolution.
Exactly. And we were tinkering with it, and it's got like the Kaleidoscape interface. It's real smooth. When you change through the cover art of the movies. And, you know, kind of like looking at it versus what we have on the Apple TV, it's like, okay, yeah, this feels like a premium product, but that was out first. And what came after it were like Apple TVs and Plex servers and that kind of thing. And they almost like copied, to me, it looks like they copied like what they were trying to do over there at Kaleidoscape and went a different direction over time for sure. But Kaleidoscape was out there with this super expensive, beautiful UI. And then if I'm going back and thinking about like how Xbox Media Center and all that kind of like progressed over time, like now I say they're like on par with each other. Like I don't think if you had the equipment and everything to play whatever the Kaleidoscape is downloaded, like it's probably, you know, you probably could do that with one of these like open source solutions, right? Or one like a Plex or something like that. I don't think that's a problem anymore. But what we do, I guess the point I'm trying to make is like you do see over time a premium product come in, introduced, and kind of like everybody looks around and goes, man, that's great for the rich people, but you know, what about us peons here? And they get together and they start making something like something really cool. And I'm sure that it could be Home Assistant, it could be somebody else, I don't know, but I'm sure somebody's working on it out there, and I'm sure we're going to see it soon.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be Home Assistant first. I don't know of any other home automation platform that's as quick and loose as they are. So
yeah, it's got to work though. I mean, that's my ding.
No, it doesn't. It just has to be there.
It just has to be a checkbox that could say, yeah, we did it, and speed on by.
Nailed it.
Yep. All right, let's move on here. We've got a bunch of stories here to cover, and I do want to cover one more pro story here before we get into kind of like new products and rumors and Matter stuff. But this one really floored me, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to take a look at the video that's linked in the story here. But I think this is from over at Resi Systems, Residential Systems. CD has announced the launch of a new collection of free resources designed to complement CD's existing workforce development programs. And this is all done in order to help like a global CDA channel build awareness of the industry for employment opportunities and recruit new hires. This is really brilliant. This is what I really wanted to see CDA doing for a long time. And this new resource is called the Next Gen Smart Home Career Toolkit. And it focuses on helping integrators develop local talent pipelines and pools inside their local community. You get things like they had this video that I'm referring to. It's actually a really good video. If you go look at it, kind of makes everything look legit. Like it looks really good. They did a great job on the video. They have presentations explaining the industry and viable career pathways. That's awesome. Fact sheets, job brochures, print ready posters that you could print up, classroom presentations for integrators. This is really great, bringing awareness that this is an actual career you can get into. It's a needed career because there's a lot of people out there who will tinker and play with home automation and Home Assistant, and there's a lot of Gavins out there, I guess is what I'll say. But there's a lot more people out there who just don't want anything to do with it. They want to come home and they want to walk in their door and their home does what it's supposed to do with the technology they think is cool. And these jobs are going to be out there for a while. And whether they roll into being electricians or not, or some other type of trade, I don't know. But CDA kind of like drawing a box around this industry and say, hey, a little bit more than just running some wire and hanging TVs. It's really cool. And go check out the video. The video is really good. Like it is a really good explanation of what this industry does and all the cool stuff we get to touch and put together. I thought it was. TJ, you're an actual integrator. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely well needed. Until I moved down to Florida, I think like 10 years ago or something now, I had no idea the home automation space was even a real industry, right? I've always heard about home automation, but I didn't know like people made a living out of it. So the first step to getting past that is to educate people on what the industry is and kind of give them those resources to get new people in. And that's been a struggle ever since I've been in here, is that, you can't find workers. And it's even worse now because of the economy and everything else that's going on in the world. But even before then, you can't hire people for an industry if nobody knows that the industry exists, right? So this is definitely well needed. and I'm really liking where Cydia has been going. I was never a fan of Cydia myself. It seemed like one of those certification classes or organizations that, you basically you got certified on networking or something. You gave yourself a pat on the back, and nobody had any idea what it was, right? Like nobody asked you if you were Cydia certified or if you've done Cydia networking, unless they were already an integrator. So the new CEO, he seems to be kind of changing that a little bit, and he wants to focus on, educating people about who we are, because there is a lot of unknowns there. Nobody really knows anything about us.
Yeah, and I mean, I always thought of CD as like a party every year, which it is, but that's the trade show part of it. And I think for so long that was their bread and butter, and they focused on that heavily. And I really think this, industry development stuff suffered because of it. When they divorced themselves of the show, pre-COVID and everything, they kind of set themselves up to go down this direction and need to be a more like an industry association that is focused on education and industry development. And I'm really glad that it's panning out that way. I really am. We're joining Cydia this year as a company, so like it's the first time I actually feel good about joining with Cydia, because I really do like where they're going with this. This is awesome. This is really good stuff. And if you haven't seen the video, Gavin, did you watch the video? Do you want to be an integrator now?
Probably don't want to be an integrator now. But first of all, there's only one Gavin. Okay, there's only one Gavin. But yeah, it kind of cleared up what it is to be an integrator, though, because all I thought you guys did was hang TVs and tie wires to cats and feed them through attics so that they can pull it for you, right? So that's all I thought you guys did. But now I see there's a lot more to it, and it's good because, like you said, there's a home automation is a big thing right now. It's a hot topic, and this gives people that are interested in getting in the field a way of getting into it. This is what you have to do. These are courses you can take. This is what your job entails. So it's I'm impressed.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, it's actually just called Cat 5. That's the cable. We don't actually tie it to cats.
I think he's talking about the cat or the ferret program to run wires.
Yeah.
We did have a video of that at some
that's
point
an advanced level course you have to take, how to run wire with your pet.
With your cat.
Yeah.
I would try to teach my cat, but she would probably try to eat the wire, so not really beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
You just put a treat at the other end of the hole, and it will run right to the treat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. It's good. It's good to see them do something. I'm glad you enjoyed the video too, Gavin, because it really, to me, it was just like, yeah, that's all the stuff that's really cool about this industry, and why I got involved is because it's all this cool, fun stuff that you get to install. You get to play with rich people's toys for a little while and get to see the coolest of the cool things, and be in the biggest and craziest houses you've ever imagined, putting this stuff together. So it's a fun industry. It really is. So I'm glad that they're working hard on developing that out. Let's move on here and talk about Matter stuff that matters. After delaying their Matter rollout, Aquara is now announcing that Hub M2 users are going to receive an update through a beta firmware to enable Matter. The company announced this rollout should take around 4 to 6 weeks to complete, and once downloaded by M2 users, it should allow them to act as a bridge for the rest of Aquara's home devices. Other Aquara hubs like the M1S, Gen 1 and Gen 2, the E2, the Camera Hub G3, and the Camera Hub G2H Pro will be receiving the update, quote, over the coming months. So who knows when that's going to be. Thread support isn't coming to individual Aquara devices, though some of the new devices Aquara mentioned at CES will come with Matter support right out of the box. So this is one way. This is how they're going to basically allow their older devices that aren't going to get a Thread upgrade or a Matter upgrade into the Matter ecosystem. Just use a bridge, which is great. But there's some caveats here. Alexa and SmartThing users won't be able to use it just because those two platforms don't allow bridge type devices to be integrated for some reason. So until they offer that, or until they update their platforms to support that, you're not going to do anything there. And then that leaves basically Google Home and Apple HomeKit. But for some reason, Not really sure why, but the company says HomeKit isn't recommended because Matter can't do everything that HomeKit can at this time. So it's kind of like, that's kind of a weird statement. I guess we're gonna have to wait for people to get these upgrades and find out what the limitations are completely there, because the video they provided wasn't very helpful. So put a link to this in the show notes. You guys can go check it out. Gavin, this kind of goes into your Matter. They're gonna screw this up feelings.
When did I say that? Last year? Or is
I think you say every week, I think, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be fair, and it's still early, and I'm curious, how long are we gonna keep saying it's still early? At what point is still early no longer still early? Right? Because right now it's still early. They're dependent on the other ecosystems to open up certain things, so that's why we have these caveats. I expect Samsung to eventually allow this, because why wouldn't they want the other devices to come into their system? So I expect to see them. It's just, we gotta give them time, as expected. And I also expected, a lot of these manufacturers will probably just have a hub that bridges all their devices into it at some point, right? So we're probably gonna get a lot of hubs depending on what you have out there. So we'll see how it develops, but I'm not shocked.
Well, they've only been working on it for like 5 years now, so I guess it is a little early for stuff to just be there, isn't it?
Are we still early though? Is it still early?
Is it early or late? I don't know which one it technically is now.
Do we even have a Thread Matter device yet? I don't know. I was trying to find one.
Yeah, I think we're I mean, it's early in that respect, right? They finalized whatever this thing that they've been promoting is for 5 years, like you're saying, TJ. So that's out in the world now, and now it's up to manufacturers to build to that spec. So, that's going to be a 12 to 18 month process for manufacturers to bring stuff from today until, when that spec was completed. It's going to take that time to go, okay, it's ready to go, to we have a product sitting on the shelf at Amazon or wherever. So I think it's good. Like we're finally catching up here with this spec that kind of basically does what the Pro systems have been doing for decades at this point. And it's going to bring, hopefully, the idea, if they all follow the spec right, it's going to bring a better stability and everything into this, into what the products are able to do. We just got a little speed bumps along the way to get everybody on board, and all the incompatibilities things ironed out. Like why doesn't HomeKit does more than Matter or something? I don't know. Like it's a weird statement. It's very weird.
Well, maybe by the holiday season, we'll have some devices we can buy and start using.
A couple outlet plugs.
Yeah. Some light switches.
Yeah. Be nice.
It's getting there.
It's getting there slowly but surely. All right. Well, we got a new vacuum, guys. Hang on to your loose socks around the house, because
hopefully this one doesn't have a camera on it so it can watch me.
No, it uses gyroscope. So, all right. So TP-Link briefly teased its intro into robot vacuums over at CES, but the company has released more detail on its first pair of budget-minded cleaning machines. All right. The Tapo RV10 is a $250 vacuum mop combo, while the Tapo RV10 Lite cuts out the mop and doubles the dustbin size for only $230. Both models use gyroscope-based zigzag path planning. This zigzag path planning is a quote from the company. And it says the company claims it'll clean your floor more efficiently than the random path vacuums, and also includes noise suppression to keep the sound as low as 53 decibels in a quiet mode. That's kind of cool. Both devices work with the Tapo app for iOS and Android. Alexa and Google Assistant voice control are also supported. Not bad for $250 for a robot vacuum. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty solid device. I mean, I've been pretty happy with TP-Link devices in the past. I've used a lot of TP-Link networking devices. I have a couple TP-Link smart home devices like plugs and light switches and light bulbs, and they all work pretty good. I don't know if this is going to have like a local only mode. So if you don't have internet, is it still going to work? But I imagine it would, right? Like there's probably nothing that is blocked behind the internet for it to work, but that would be an interesting thing to find out.
I think it's just a value add thing for it to have that, it's got buttons on it, so you can go and press it and start or schedule it or whatever. I don't think it's going to need internet to work.
Well, and I'm just looking at it on Amazon because I really do want a robot vacuum at some point. If you buy it right now, you actually get a $70 off coupon. So it makes the regular vacuum from $229.99 to $159.99.
That's a
So
great
that's
deal.
not a bad deal at all.
Mm-hmm.
For what you get, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
I might just bite the bullet and get one here.
There we go. Spending money live.
That's right.
There's one feature in my next robot vac I'm going to make sure I have, and you really won't appreciate this feature until the day it actually saves your life.
Is it going to be a kill switch?
No. Poop
Flamethrower.
detection.
Oh,
Poop
poop detection.
Like, seriously, if you have a pet and you get a robot vacuum, just make sure you have poop detection, because when they have that accident and that robot vacuum goes to do its its schedule, you don't want to come home to that smeared all over the place. That's the last thing you want. I'm not talking through experience either. Almost experience, though.
Almost. It's close
Is
enough.
that what they call that feature, poop detection, or do they have like some kind of fancy term like fecal matter? I don't know.
No, I think they actually call it poop detection.
Yeah.
Is it Roomba that has it?
Roomba has that feature. I figure. I want to say they call it poop detection. So
this one doesn't list anything about poop detection, so maybe
fecal
it's not
matter,
a good buy.
Not a buy.
I don't know.
Yeah. You just got to tie in Home Assistant. So if one of your sensors smells poop, then the robot vacuum doesn't run.
There you go.
Tie in with your air quality sensor.
Yeah, the AQI in this
way
area
too
is
high in here.
Yeah.
If I get down to 3 leaves, it's like don't vacuum.
You've got 0 leaves. It's -3 leaves, Gavin. -3 leaves. We're not taking the vacuum out.
But with those new fancy cameras that can detect, they make a stick figure out of your shape and stuff like that. Maybe it can detect the dog in a certain position to know that it's what it's doing.
That's a good idea.
There was a guy who did that. I thought we may have covered it. I know we saw the video where he had used like AI or models built onto the cameras where it could detect where the dog had pooped and mark it on the camera. He was marking it with lasers. He had a laser and it would mark where the dog pooped so he could go clean it up or whatever later.
And I don't see anything on this one about like a geofence or marking out certain areas. I think that's usually reserved for more expensive robot vacuums, is it not? So like telling it exactly where to go or something like that. So this will just run continuously, kind of like one of those toy cars you had as a kid where you wind it back and it would hit the wall and then go in reverse and stuff like that.
That's a feature I love in my vacuum is the mapping.
That's a good idea.
I had a vacuum that just bounced around and it would never find its way back to the dock. Right. But when I got a vacuum that maps around, not just that, like the Roomba maps 2 floors. So when I put it upstairs and I press start, it actually knows it's upstairs and what to do too. It figures it out somehow.
Yeah, and I think I would like that because we live in an apartment right now. But it would be nice to have this run at night while we're not doing anything, But I would like it to cut off near the bedroom, so that way it doesn't accidentally crash into the bedroom door or something like that and give us a heart attack at night. So maybe this is not a good buy for me. I'll just keep holding on.
That's kind of what I have decided on the cheaper vacuum. Like they've all been good deals here and there. Even the Roombas have been pretty good deals. But I keep going back to like the mapping thing, and I think the one that has like the dustbin collector, and I'm like,
that's a worthwhile
expensive.
Feature.
Yeah,
I think the dustbin one's like $800 or something.
Yeah, and I keep looking at that, going, well, if that was a better deal, I would get it. But even when it's on sale for like $200 off, I'm like, that's still expensive. So
I don't know. To swallow.
I have a vacuum and just run around the house and vacuum still like a savage. All right. Well, we've got some leaks here, guys, and The Verge has struck again. This time they're outing 2 new Sonos products. And TJ, you want to take a swing at what they're not going to be?
Not headphones.
No headphones for you.
Nope.
The company is preparing a new generation of smart speakers known as the Era 300 and the Era 100. They'll be debuting in the coming months. The flagship Era 300 is designed to showcase spatial audio, tracks, and Dolby Atmos content. And both speakers have a completely new design compared to the existing Sonos products, according to the leaks that The Verge has. No pricing on this yet, and apparently the name actually, The Verge we talked about this on the show a while back, but The Verge has kind of been on top of these leaks, and I guess the names leaked out from some catalogs from Sanus. stands and wall mounts. They were posted on the web like over a month ago. So they've had those names like Era stands, Era 300, Era 100, Sonos stands, and I guess nobody noticed. And The Verge ran across it, and now they got the story about again. So fun stuff. Hey, it's pretty cool.
The most exciting thing out of here is the automatic tuning and sound optimization. For anybody that has Sonos, you know that funky dance that you have to do around the room where you hold the phone upside down and you wave it all around. And when you're at a customer's house and you start doing that, they look at you like you're insane. They're like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, well, I'm tuning your Sonos system. And now I have to start over again because you talked during the whole thing. So now you have to just walk around. It's just like, it's such a silly process, to be honest. It does make a big difference whenever you do the True Play. But the whole process of it is just silly. And if they can figure out how to do the automatic tuning on all of the speakers, like that would probably be worth it alone to upgrade.
I've never done the True Play. Should I do that?
Never.
Yes, it makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
It does.
Yeah. And there's two phases to it. The first one, it asks you to sit down in your normal seat. And I think it's like hold the phone up eye level, and it calibrates it for that spot. And then the other part is that you actually walk around and you wave the phone up and down like a crazy person. And then it kind of adjusts the audio for the whole room. Huh. And it does make a big difference. And one of the gripes I've always had with it is that it's only available on iOS. So you must have an iPhone or an iPad in order to do it. If you have an Android phone, you're never going to be able to do it.
Not even just that. I noticed whenever they a new iPhone came out, it took them forever to add support to that iPhone too. So even if you got the new iPhone, you wouldn't be able to retune your speakers until they release an update to the app.
Yeah, it usually takes them like 3 to 6 months to add support for the new phone.
Interesting. Maybe they model the microphone or do some testing on it. That's interesting. I've never done it. I've attempted to do it in the past and it failed, and I just didn't have the patience to do it, so I gave up. But I'll give it a shot again if the house is ever quiet enough again for me to do that.
Yeah, and do it while nobody's there, so that way nobody thinks you're a crazy person.
Yeah, something. All right, well, I'll give it a shot. All right. Well, we covered this on last week's show, but there was an update like immediately after we released the show, or recorded the show rather, and it was about Netflix and their password sharing stuff that was going on, where they were going to lock everything down, and everybody was mad about it. And then Netflix released this story and was like, "Whoops, we didn't mean to release it. We didn't mean the U.S. Of course we didn't. Yeah, that was meant for other countries." But they haven't really taken that down off their website either. But they've also expanded the same policies into other countries. So they're rolling out the ban on the account sharing there in Canada, Gavin, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. After trialing the effort in Latin America, if you live in those countries, you'll need to set a primary location to have unfettered access at home. If you let any friends or family want to share your account, you'll have to subscribe to either the standard or premium tier and pay $8 in Canada and New Zealand for up to 2 extra users outside of your home. Gavin, what's going on? Are you the primary account holder now?
My sister beat me to it. So as we got the notifications today about this, they said you have to claim your home to the 20th. She didn't even wait. She instantly went in there and claimed it, and she knew. Yeah, I think she may have listened to the podcast and tried to beat me to it. But I tried to go in there, and it was like, nope, you're not the primary owner. We're gonna have to have a talk.
Just cancel Netflix. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to be nice to her from now on, because every few weeks she's gonna have to reauthorize my account or something like that, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it's funny. And we were talking about this a little bit before the show. And I was talking to my wife about she had seen the announcement. And then I went back and we were talking about how they had walked it back, basically, after the outrage that everybody had over this decision. And there was actually a really funny video about a guy yelling about butterscotch. It's got explicit language. Maybe I'll put it in the show notes because it was really funny. And anyway, she said, you know what they're doing? They're just making everybody mad about this. And they'll wait a little bit while longer, and then they'll just do it. And since we're already mad about it once, we're not going to get mad about it again. We're just going to, all right, that was that. I'm the primary home now, Gavin, and you'll have to wait. So I think TJ, you and I were talking about this before the show. You said it's a pretty common tactic for these companies to do that, outrage everybody, sit back, not doing. Oh no, we're not going to do that, and then come back and do it again anyway. Because why? Why would they have happy customers?
Well, you're gonna have Netflix groups now, to get that discount. It's like, just add me onto your account. I get it for cheaper. Like that's what's probably gonna happen now. We'll see. I just don't get it, because I figure, like, why even allow it at cheaper? Because then you'll get everybody just go under someone's account and everyone gets it cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just force everyone to get their own account. I guess that's the next step for them. I don't know why I keep giving them ideas.
Nah, that's probably just their way of softening the blow a little bit. Like, you're gonna have to pay for another account basically, but it's half the cost of an actual account. So I think a lot of people are probably gonna be all right with that, and they're just gonna do that. But there's obviously gonna be a lot of people that are just gonna not do that at all. So we'll have to see how it plays out for them in the long run. They've obviously done the math to think that they can make more money this way, and they need to make more money. They're losing money like crazy with all their original content. So we'll see what it does for them.
Yeah, they've made some big gambles on original content and spent billions and billions and billions to compete with everybody else. And they're not making money, turns out.
Yeah, it would probably help if they didn't make a show for like a season or two and then cancel it and then repeated that like 80 times. But I'm not a Netflix executive, so
Cowboy Bebop, man, that was a really cool show. And like, they canceled it. They said before it was even over, they were going to cancel it. It was like, I was enjoying this. Oh man. Anyway, I guess it's going to happen. This is why people download things.
We're just going to deal with it.
Yeah. Life will find a way, as they say. All right. Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/423. You know what? We didn't pick a pick of the week this week, but I guess since we talked about it, we'll put it as the pick of the week. Using your cat to pull underground cables.
It's a good idea. I've seen people use cats, and I was reading an article the other day too about people using ferrets. And I've always thought about ferrets because they're so, I don't know what the actual word is, but
trainable.
They're very collapsible or trainable, whatever, where they can fit into a lot of tight spots. And supposedly that's a legit thing. They have used ferrets in the past to run cables through conduits and stuff.
I've been guilty of this. We've been, I'll admit, we've been in the living room or something like that. And, the wife has said, "Hey, keep passing me a tissue." And I've taken it and shoved it under the dog's collar and said, "Go." And he runs across the room to her with it and she gets it, So similar concept, but, like, animals are trainable. They're good for something.
Yeah. Just got to give them some treats and they'll make it happen for you.
Yeah.
Everybody loves treats.
This largely depends on the cat, I think. Like, you wouldn't be able to do this.
Cats are stubborn.
Yeah. Definitely. I would worry that the cats that I've owned would just go down under the house and go to sleep. And then you're like, come on, get out from underneath there.
Yeah, I don't think I would trust a cat to do it, mainly because, just like you said, all my cats are lazy. So
lazy, yeah. Or they're just not going to do it because that's the point.
Like, so, you attach something to me. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep, I think I'll just sit here and lick my leg. There we go. Cats, what are you going to do? All right, well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm. You can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. Project updates. TJ's got a big picture right there. Oh my gosh, man.
I got all the projects. Now I'm getting into the fun stuff. So speaking of Sonos, I needed a new speaker for the new office, and I wanted something that I could hook up to the computer. So I bought one of the Sonos Rays, and it is meh. I mean, it's a cheap sound bar. This is kind of what I thought it would be, to be honest, but it's not, in my opinion. I don't think it's really worth the $300 when you can buy a Beam for only like $150 more, right? The Ray is $279 regular price. The Beam is, I think, $449. The beam sounds miles better. And I think a lot of the reviews that I read before I bought this were basically saying the same thing, right? It's a very low end sound bar. It's in the Sonos ecosystem. That's probably the reason you're going to buy it. I just don't think it's worth the $279 price tag. One of the cool features about it, though, and I don't think I've ever seen this before for some reason, but that little optical connector on the back of the Sonos Ray, it's basically reversible. So
That's
it's like
neat. Yeah, look at that.
it's like a star pattern kind of thing, and you can plug that optical adapter in pretty much any way you want. And if you've ever had to try to plug an optical cable into something, especially something that is already mounted on like the wall, like a TV, for example, finding that exact spot that this connector goes into it sometimes can be the worst thing in the world, right? Because it's kind of like USB, right? You got to plug it in, and even though you plugged it in the right way, it doesn't line up correctly. But with this, the star pattern thing, you just plug it in and it just works. I don't know why nobody else does this.
That's really smart because I've broken cables trying to plug them into that stupid thing. I've even seen people break the ends off inside the TV trying to plug it in incorrectly. And I've seen them mash the cable in incorrectly, but it's in there and kind of worked. And that was the service call. That's why I was there. But yeah, that's genius. I don't know why that wasn't part of the original spec. Like why they would do the cable they did the way they had it. You can put that in any way, it looks like, and it would work. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and as optical is going away, we're getting this sweet new connector. So I wish I would have saw it on everything for the past 10 or 20 years.
Even I know that pain. But you know what will make your Ray sound better, right? A Sonos sub and 2 Sonos ones behind you.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen in this place. Maybe a sub mini, but I feel like that's overkill for an office.
Do it.
I don't know. I'm going with Gavin. As long as you're spending money on stuff tonight, just go all out, man.
Yeah. Maybe I'll move the regular sub to the office and then just get a sub mini for the house.
We already saved you money on telling you not to get that vacuum cleaner. Now you can
that's true.
More. Yeah.
That's what I need to do is keep spending money. Speaking of spending money, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't really sure what it entailed and everything, and I haven't got a chance to play with it yet. But I got my Lenovo Home Assistant Cube thing today, and it's basically a tiny little box. It's got an Ethernet port, it's got a power port, a USB and micro SD slot, and it runs Home Assistant, and you can tie it in natively with Elan. And I think a couple other control systems, but I don't really use those, so that's not my concern. But I'm interested to try it at my house because I currently use Home Assistant. I love it. It works great and everything. But I want to see what I can integrate into Elan with Home Assistant. And talking to the founder of the company, it sounds like it pretty much works with anything. They haven't tested it with every single device that Home Assistant supports. But it sounds like, if you have a smart lock that maybe is cloud-based, but Elan doesn't support it, you tie it in with this Home Assistant Cube, and then you bring it in natively to Elan, and it'll work. So that's pretty cool. My cost was about $100 or so, which is not bad. I mean, you would pretty much pay like $50 or $60 for a Raspberry Pi at this point, plus, the power supply and micro SD card and all that good stuff. So $100 for the Cube is not a bad deal. I'm excited to try it out though. So hopefully next week I'll have a little more hands-on time with it.
That's cool, man. I saw those guys had a booth at Cedia, so but I'll be interested to see what you find out about it. It looks like a good idea because Home Assistant has integrations with everything. I mean, toothbrushes and stuff and there's not a chance that Elan is going to integrate with a toothbrush. So
nope.
If your client needed to integrate with their toothbrush, you've got a solution. That's good.
Yeah. And I've started shopping it as like an experimental thing. I've started telling some clients about it. And it's like, look, I have this thing. You can try it out. It costs this much money. I'm not responsible if it doesn't work though. So I'll have to put it through its paces first and see before I actually install it at a client's house. But I've heard really good things about it.
There's certain clients you could use this with. Then there are certain clients you would just say, that doesn't exist, sir.
Yeah.
There's no way to do that. And
yeah,
you have
the
to,
more tech savvy people, right, that would
Yeah.
understand that it's a beta product for the most part.
Yeah.
So nobody that just wants their stuff to work all the time, but somebody that's willing to try out and do stuff.
Yep. So Gavin, basically.
Yeah, Gavin. I'll
Sure.
send you an alarm system, Gavin.
Yeah, I need multiple devices too.
Oh, okay. You just have to factory reset all of your Z-Wave and Zigbee devices and pair them again.
I've done that multiple times. I'm a pro now.
And actually, no, you're running Home Assistant, so you could just back up and restore right to the cube. You wouldn't have to do anything different.
There you go. I'm a pro now.
Problem solved.
Get you a CD, a T-shirt. Send you
Yeah,
on your way.
Like I said, I'm gonna do the cat cable pulling advanced course.
Honestly, you could start that as like a business. Everybody's short on help right now. If you started up some kind of ferret or cat wire running company, people would probably hire you like crazy.
Yeah, they work for Warm Milk, so. And TJ, I think you've basically spent all your money on this pack out solution you have in your van. This is insane. Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, so I for the past like 6 months or so, when I bought my van last year, I bought some shelves off like Craigslist or Facebook for next to nothing, and they're the traditional metal shelves that you put in a van. But I wasn't a big fan of them because you can't, you can put bins inside the shelves and then take the bins out and everything like that. But I go into a lot of jobs where it's like, well, I know I need patch cables, right? So let me just bring all my patch cables in, use what I need, and then bring them back out. So I've been slowly converting the whole van to pack out, and it's been really nice, honestly. I still have to finalize some walls. So my van originally was a mover's van, so it has E-track along the side of it, so that way they could tear down or tie down different cargo and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The weight of my pack out, though, for some of them are way too heavy for the E-track, and it's starting to like bend and break some of the rivets.
Yeah.
And that's obviously my fault. I put way too much weight on it. But I think my next project for the van, now that I've kind of got all my pack outs ready and everything, is to add more E-track so I can fully stabilize everything and I don't have to worry about breaking anything. I've never done any kind of walls or anything in a van, so I'm not really sure how to approach that just yet. But I guess I'll find out. I have a spot that I can pull the van into and mess with it. So
yeah, there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube on building. What are those campers that people build into their vans? Yeah. So
yeah, there's a lot of that on there, but I haven't really found anything that's like specific for like cargo vans. There's a lot of people turning their vans into places to live or campers and stuff like that. But I haven't really found anything for my use case. I'm sure there's something out there. There's some kind of written guide or video guide or something like that.
Well, Gavin, what about you? Have you been rebuilding vans and that kind of thing? What are you up to these days?
No van rebuilding, but this week I did get my Home Assistant Sky Connect. Finally.
Ooh, nice.
Finally, but I'm probably not even gonna play with it till I actually get a device that I can use with the Thread radio. So my plan is to use this just for Thread and Matter, right? And I'll keep my Zigbee and my Z-Wave as separate devices, and this is what I thought Matter was going to be to me anyway, just another antenna on the Home Assistant box. So everything's panning out, but we'll see when I finally get to this, one day we'll see.
He's got his check mark and done.
Yeah, and done.
It's such a small little dongle, isn't it? Have you opened it yet, or you just haven't even opened it?
No, it's open. I've opened it. It's a small dongle.
So
it comes
tiny.
with an extension cable, But what I'll probably do is buy another long extension cable so I can centralize it in my basement, like what I did with my other antennas, right? So it's, one day I'll get to it. Like I said, I want to get a device first.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I've got mine installed, but I can't use it with anything minus Zigbee devices, so it doesn't really do me any good right now.
Exactly. My whole setup's running so smooth right now. I don't want to go through and replace the antenna. I'll just give it time for that to work, and we'll see where it goes. Other than that, this week I'm going to be on Home Gadget Geeks, the Home Gadget Geeks podcast.
Ooh.
So, go over to Home Gadget Geeks. I think it's homegadgetgeeks.com. Just Google it. You'll find the podcast. And I'm going to be talking a lot of Home Assistant there this week. They wanted to get me in, talk some Home Assistant. So if you like Home Assistant, come over, listen to that podcast.
Cool. Cool. Well, I've been out of town, but I didn't do any projects around the house, but I did kind of tinker with some like robot stuff. Because I heard Jason Snell and some other podcasts talk about this website called Make.com. And it used to be like either a magazine or like some other thing before, but there is a company that has taken it over and made a pretty little interface to basically automate a bunch of stuff. And it's basically like a I don't know, what's the one Zapier type setup that you has business integrations. It has all that junk. But it does give you the ability to like do HTTP posts, webhook connections. They have an app that you can download that has like little buttons that you can set up to deploy into this thing. So you basically go in and you make your scenarios. And I've got one that will look at the HomeTech.fm RSS. And if a new show is posted on Friday or Saturday or maybe even Sunday, it will look at it and see if anything's changed and then post the link to that show and, like it would normally do on Twitter automatically through Squarespace. Since I don't have that integration in Squarespace, this is what we've got. And it'll just start watching the RSS feed on Friday to see if anything's changed. And if it has, it'll post it on Mastodon for me and I don't have to do it. Which is great. I love little robots and automation and things like that. So it's kind of cool. I liked it. It took a little while to figure out. And it messed up last week because I actually had it done, but it messed up. And because the title of the show had a quote mark in it, like a quotation marks in it, and that messed up something and it didn't post right. But then I figured out that was the problem and I corrected it and I'm sure I'll break it again, but it's automation for you. It's fun. Make.com. Check this thing out. It's got a lot of integrations in it. It's very, very cool.
See, those are the robots you need to be friends with, Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm friends with all robots, by the way. Just in case. But I think if you're a developer, we've all fallen victim to that quote in a string issue at some point in our life. I hate that so much.
Well, it was the title of the show, which comes off the RSS feed, so it has the quotes in it. But then to post a Mastodon, you had to put it inside JSON text string, which already had the quotes around it. And since that wasn't escaped out, it messed up. So yeah, Mastodon was like, no, I'm not posting that. And it just took a little while to figure out. This is a really cool little. It's like a graphical thing. You just drag stuff around and drop, and you can test stuff. I really like it. It's got thousands of integrations though, like just absolute thousands of integrations in this thing. And I even had it sending me an email if the thing doesn't post right or if there's an error or something, it'll send me an email and tell me. So it's really cool for all that it can do. I liked it. Check it out, Make.com. You make something.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Give it a shot because I've used Zapier in the past, but was didn't really work out for what I wanted it for. But maybe this will have what I want.
You know what I found on Mastodon is there are certain bots on Mastodon that will repost content from Twitter accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I was able to follow some of my sports teams because these bots just repost the Twitter feed from the sports team. So I've been trying to find more of those little bots. But maybe I'll make some.
You can absolutely make some. There's definitely
yourself.
Well, no, you can't because Twitter's cutting off their API. So
you gotta pay for the Twitter API.
Exactly, or just scrape the web pages. I'm sure there's somebody will figure out a way to do this. But yeah, Twitter is a mess, and Mastodon has a great API. I was playing around with this thing, and I'm impressed. I think I'm going to I'm going to make a little Mastodon Control4 driver and just post updates from my Control4 system anytime a light changes or something. It'll be fun. I
think Home Assistant already had one.
Yeah, people were doing all that junk way back. Like when Twitter first came around, you would always run across stuff like that. And it was like, oh, that's fun. Like it's a dumb little thing that can sit there and post stuff all day long. Clog up the local feed.
Gavin's going to be one of those people.
Yeah, he's going to mute this thing.
Ban Gavin. Sorry.
From my own instance.
It's just going to be like, Home Assistant needs an update. Home Assistant needs an update. Home Assistant needs an update. Just over and over again.
Yeah, I'm going to flood it with Home Assistant updates.
It's all it does. It just updates all the time.
You only get
And every-
2 a week.
And every time they add something too, so just a separate 2 for every time they add a separate service.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support and learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 per month. Any pledge over $5 gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you a private invite to our Slack chat, the Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can go in there and look at Greg's awesome keypads. Those are amazing. Those look great.
That was impressive, actually. They came out better than I thought they would.
Way better.
Definitely
Those are those the Zeus ones?
Yeah, I
would
believe
think
it's
so,
the
right?
Zeus, yeah.
They're actually
Yep.
engraved.
Yeah, he had them. There's a company that Zeus partnered with to do like laser engraving, and I guess he sent one off to have it done, and it looks awesome.
I didn't
Looks
realize Greg was rich because they're like what $40 or $50 for the engraving.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. He's
More,
paying
I
for
think
it.
they're more than the scene controller.
I'm sure it is. I mean,
Yeah.
but it
It looks nice.
Having experience with setting all that up and doing it, like that's a pain. Like it does cost money to do. So
Well, and it's like, it's like reminiscent of like a professional automation system, right? Because if you were to walk into like a really nice house that had automated lighting, they would have engraved keypads like this. So we're getting closer to closing that gap between, professional and DIY home automation. And simple stuff like this goes a long way.
And you know what? It passed the Richard test, so it was well worth the money.
oh yeah, it did. Well, look at that. Wow. I'm gonna pin that. Yeah. No, it does actually look really good. You could line up his screws. Great. But
Now that you pointed that out, yeah.
Oh man.
first thing I saw.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Adding a comment now.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's fun to check out. If you want to help with the show but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That wraps another week up here in Home Tech. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Godspeed.
Take care.
It's on the
TJ,
list.
It's on the list. TJ downloaded, what was this from ChatGPT on how to close the show?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and we just pasted it in here. So every week he goes through and for whatever reason, the strike through doesn't work on this version of Markdown. So
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Godspeed's off the list now.
We're just gonna keep going through the list. I mean, that's what we've been doing for the past year anyway. It's not like I'm gonna find a permanent phrase all of a sudden. So
Peace out. I can't wait till you get to that one.
yeah. That's actually the one I was thinking about using tonight, but I decided against it. Godspeed sounded more I don't know. Natural.
Catch you later or see you later would be perfect. And I don't know why you have I do.
Adios.
Adios. Adios.
I would probably be able to say arrivederci like normally, but like during
it
the
doesn't have an
podcast,
N
I
in
would
it,
definitely, I would definitely butcher that. Or see arrivederci. There you go. I'd butcher it either way.
Yeah, just go. What you need to do is go watch Inglourious Bastards before the show and see how he says arrivederci, and then you'll say it that way. It's perfect. Auf Wiedersehen. You can say that one.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and ciao.
Gonna-
Ciao's good.
Yeah, ciao. I can
Ciao.
say
Yeah, ciao. Ciao.
that's a good one.
Practice it. Say ciao to the chat room.
Ciao. See, like whenever we find one that I like, I'll just say it. That'll just be that'll be my one that I pick.
The one that will get edited into the show is all
Exactly.
dependent on Seth.
Yeah.
Very loud. Ciao.
Yeah, we got ciao. That's my new ring. That's my new alert tone for my text messages. Ciao, 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 ciao.
All right. Thanks everybody who's still tuned in. I don't think anybody's there. I saw 4.
Yeah, nobody's there anymore. They left.
Bye.
Yeah. We